Baby step 1, save $1,000. Baby step 2, get out of debt, everything but your house using the debt snowball. Baby step 3, save 3 to 6 months of expenses for a fully funded emergency fund. Baby step 4, invest 15% of your household income into retirement. Baby step 5, start saving for kids' college. Baby step 6, pay off your house. Baby step 7, nothing left to do now, but become very wealthy and outrageously generous. We're going to revisit this framework throughout the day. This is the plan that 10 million people have used to get straightened up. So baby step 1, save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. $1,000. Now, if you've got $1,000 in your mind somewhere in your life, you can just check that, done. Gotta kind of move it to the side, it's $1,000. Don't touch it, it's just there for an emergency, and that's it. When I first started doing this, I did not have that as baby step 1. I had shut up and get out of debt. But then people would have an alternator blow on their car that was $350, and they would have to, and they didn't have any money because I told them to put everything on their debt, and they would sit there going, I'm broke and I gotta get to work. Screw you, Dave, this doesn't work. And they would quit. And so I went, okay, we gotta have a little bit of pad between you, but we can't build up a big pile of money while we got this huge pile of debt over here. That doesn't make sense either. So we're gonna get just a little starter emergency fund. The humorous thing is that 30 years later, now people are saying, Dave, you need to adjust this because of inflation. No, stupid, it was never the right amount. It was never intended to be enough. $1,000 is not enough, and by the way, $2,000 is not enough, okay? So it doesn't matter, because you're not gonna live here for very long. This is $1,000 just to catch the little stuff so you don't lose your emotional momentum, because we're running a behavior modification program here, so emotional momentum matters. So $1,000 just, and this is the easiest baby step. Some of you just did it. Okay, done, shut up, move on. And some of you gotta run home and go, okay, I gotta have a garage sale, I gotta put some stuff on Craigslist, and I gotta clean out that piggy bank, and okay, now I got $1,000, but it's only $1,000, so it's the easiest baby step. For most people in America, it's very, very doable, at least at the maximum within 30 days, right? But most people just kind of gotta, okay, I'm gonna move that over here. Now, everything else we'll talk about in a little while, which we will. $1,000. This is the easiest baby step. It's also the hardest baby step. Because this is the point in the process that you have to decide whether you're actually going to submit yourself to a different set of ideas than you have been operating on. That's called change. Change is very difficult for human beings. We don't like change, especially if it involves discomfort. We're like a little toddler sitting in a poopy diaper. I know it smells bad, but it's warm and it's mine. Until the diaper rash comes, and then they squall for 6 months. And you put that really grotesque paste on their little butts. Yes, I've got grandkids. Wow. So you have to decide now, am I going to try something different than the way I have believed to this point in my life? And the older you are, the harder that is. Because I am saying, change. No, it was okay when it was a funny thing on the radio. Now we gotta really freaking do it. Change. You gotta really freaking do it. Takes people about a month. Then once you get baby step 1 done, it moves you right to baby step 2. By the way, these are in order, and don't change the order and call up and go, well, I'm doing your baby steps. You're not doing my baby steps. You don't get to decide this. 10 million people have done it. Would you please shut up and just do it? It's like hiring a personal trainer. He comes in, he's got an 8-pack, and you got a keg, and you're arguing with him. Don't argue with the 8-pack when you got a keg, okay? This material is so freaking dialed in and so solid over so many decades with such results, such social proof in the marketplace, that for you to argue with it really makes you look dumb. Don't do that. Try it this way. Don't fix it. It's not broken. If it's wrong for you, later you can figure out your own north, okay? I'm making fun of you, okay? The fastest way to build wealth is to get out of debt. Your most powerful wealth building tool is your income. Consumer debt is out of control in America. This is the richest broke country in the world. I mean, really stupid, way below average people in America live better than almost anyone in the world. Sharon and I just spent 16 days in Egypt back in December and toured the pyramids and all these wonderful things, and it was fabulous. Love the Egyptian people. They were so neat. Average household income in Egypt is $5,600 a year. You leave somebody a $200 tip when you're traveling in Egypt, you change their net worth. Tears everywhere. You start leaving something with a $100 denomination around it. People in America, we're unbelievable. I mean, you can just really screw this up and have a better life than 98% of the people in the rest of the globe. So it causes you to be able to get away with it and think you're smart. I was that guy. So right now we've got $1.13 trillion just in credit card debt. The household debt in America is larger than it's ever been, $17.5 trillion, and that's just consumer debt, not mortgages. That's cars are now over $1 trillion, credit cards are over $1 trillion. We're all aware student loans are $1.7 trillion, and they keep selling it to us. And we keep making the student loans. Meanwhile, everyone's going, oh, student loans are killing everyone. And Congress goes, here, take another, here, take another. We're going to talk about forgiving it, but meanwhile, why don't you have 6? Which is completely intellectually dishonest. And what I realized was, because I'm a marketing guy, a business guy, an entrepreneurial guy, and a math guy, that debt is a product. Banks make money on debt. Y'all know that, right? Car companies make money on debt. Y'all know that, right? And it's a product. And so, okay, then you start doing some research from a business standpoint and you go, oh, it is the most aggressively marketed product in our culture today, with more marketing sophistication than any other product and more money spent than any other product in America today. Isn't that wild? You think about all the different products and all the different commercials you see and everything else. Debt, they spend more money selling us debt in the most marketed to culture in the history of the world. The number one king of it all is the people selling you debt. Well, guess what? When you do that much sophistication selling something, people buy it. And SoFi has a stadium. Oh, good. They must be great. They support football. What does SoFi do? Get people in debt. That's what they do. Bank of America. Da-da-da. America. No, they get people in debt. That's their freaking job. This is what they do. As a matter of fact, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, American Express, the 4 of those combined this year will spend over $4 billion in marketing, just those 4 companies. $4 billion. And so that's what I'm fighting against when I'm trying to get anyone in here to go, oh, this is north. You've had people telling you this is north your whole life with great sophistication and great levels of repetition. It's in every form and format to the point that really smart people believe, well, there's good debt. Because you've been sold. You've been sold. You've been had. You've been screwed. You know this because their buildings are bigger than yours. Their furniture in those buildings is nicer than yours. Well, guess who paid for it? You did. You've been screwed. And you got to decide, am I going to play anymore? Well, I didn't have a choice. I got knocked out. Nobody would loan me money. So I went, okay, I'm going to go debt free. But you know what? I decided I'm never borrowing again based on my personal experience and then based on starting to understand what has happened in our culture, the subtlety of our wealth transfer from us, hardworking folk, to them, the bankers. No more. I'm done. That is what we called in the 80s a paradigm shift. It is a new way of looking at things. If prior to last night's example, you thought that was north or that was north or that was north, and once I showed you a compass, you went, okay, I'm going with the guy with the compass because I was wrong. I thought I was right, but I'm going with the compass. I was wrong. The compass. Now you have a paradigm shift. You have a new way of looking at things. We're all pretty much in agreement, unless you're really stoned or something, that this is north. Okay? This is north. We're in agreement on that now. We've aligned ourselves to the truth. That's called a paradigm shift. I thought it was this way. Now I have a new way of looking at things. I have new information. The renewing of my mind, this is north. Here's another paradigm shift. Take a look at this one. Some of y'all were getting ready to get out your little protest signs, weren't you? Because you punctuated that based on your paradigm. Now that you have seen two methods of punctuating it, which gives you two completely opposite meanings, you now have a new set of information. Your mind has been renewed. And we're pretty much all aware in here this morning, as I was reminded by my wife as I was leaving this morning, that the correct answer is the last one. But isn't it interesting what our minds do when we see something, but then now we've seen this is north, that correct punctuation is there. That's cute, that's funny, but it makes the point of a paradigm shift. Here's another one, take a look at this one. The rich rules over the poor. And the borrower is slave to the lender. That's why they call it MasterCard. What happens to us is we go to school and they give us a free pizza, so we sign up for our first credit card. We can't go to college without a student loan because you can't be a student without a student loan. That's federal law. So we sign up for that. And then we graduate from school, and now we've got the first big boy, big girl job, and we're tired of driving that old hoopty, so we get a car we really can't afford. And then people start saying, oh, you've been married 20 minutes and you haven't bought a house? What's wrong with you? Buy a house, 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 buy a house. I don't care if you're broke, have student loan debt, and have a car fleece for $1,200 a month, and you've got credit cards coming out your ears. You should still go buy a house. And of course, the mortgage broker will help you get a house. That's why they call them brokers. Because people get broker and broker and broker. And then we have 27-year-old couples who have been out of school 5 years, who are now hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, plus their home, come to us, and they say, Dave, can you still do this at 63 years old? Dave, can you get me out? To which we say, yes, but it's going to hurt. We're going to have to amputate the Tahoe. We're going to have a Tesla-ectomy. Because one of the benefits of having gone broke is I no longer care what other people think. It ripped that out of me. That's why hate mail coming at Dave Ramsey is so humorous, because I'm well aware that if you follow what the masses say, you will soon find out that the M is silent. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be conformed to this world. And if that upsets you, that means I did my job. Because that's why God put me on the planet, to piss people off like that. That's why I'm here. Then maybe they will at least look at their compass and see which way north really is. Because Sharon and I made a decision. We're not living like that. And from that point forward, we never borrowed another dime. We do not borrow money for anything, ever, in any circumstances, ever. Well, you're weird. Yes, we've already established normal sucks, okay? Yes, I'm weird. That idea is weird. I am well aware of that. And it is such a hard job to convince people who have been sold by 4 credit card companies $4 billion a year for decade after decade after decade that this is smart and they're sophisticated airline miles. Oh, Lord Jesus, help me. But see, if you don't have any payments at all, none, think about it, just breathe in. What if you didn't have, even, let's just pay off your house right now in your mind. Everything's gone. And you come in Monday morning and the boss starts yelling and screaming and cussing at you. You just start walking off. You're like, where are you going? I don't have any payments. Your career choices are different when you're free. And you have more of a tendency mathematically to prosper when you're making decisions independent of, oh, I have to pay these freaking bills. I got to take this job. It's a different world. You make more money as a result of being free. We've proven this time and time again over the last 30 years. Hey guys, I hope you're fired up right now. If you'll just do this stuff, I'm telling you, it changes everything. I've worked with millions of people and the baby steps work 100% of the time. But people mess this up when they try to do the plan their way. You've got to try something different to get a different result. Don't just wing it. Go all in by taking Financial Peace University. Click the link below to get our special offer. All right, back to the baby steps. But Dave, I need a credit card to rent a car or make purchases online. You can do both of these things with a debit card. We did the largest study of millionaires for my last book, Baby Steps Millionaires, ever done in North America. We interviewed 10,167 millionaires and asked them how they did it, what their process was, how much money they have, what the money's in, how did they do it, what were the vehicles they used to build wealth, how did you become a millionaire? Did you inherit it? Did you win the lottery? Where'd the money come from? Did you save it in your 401k? Where did the money come from? We interviewed these people. We'll reference this study throughout the day, and it's the white paper for it's in the back of the book. If you want to go into the detail of the research, it's very interesting. It's airtight research to the point that this much data that's airtight collected, because we knew we'd be criticized by the left-wing communists when we did it. So we had to do airtight research processes. And so if you don't agree with the conclusions of this study, you're what's known as wrong. This is data, okay? Out of 10,167 of them, the number of them that said they became millionaires because of airline miles was precisely 0. Rich people, no, they don't. Rich people laugh at stupid people that say rich people do this. That's what's really going on in the real world. It's crazy. Well, debit card. You don't have a credit card? I haven't had a credit card. To start with, when I first went broke, they wouldn't give me one. And then I've been broke I think we got back from bankruptcy court. We've been back about 10 minutes and they offered us one. Because they'll give dead people and dogs credit cards. You know that, right? We used to collect the dogs that had them. We had a whole collection of them at one point years ago because they were just doing all these mass mailings and they would pick up stuff like off the AKC registry. And, Fluffy the Poodle in New Orleans had a $20,000 line. It's like, so you're not special if they gave you a credit card. We literally, a week after we filed for bankruptcy, in our mailbox was the opportunity to get a credit card. So this is just ridiculous. But we said, no, we're not borrowing money anymore. The borrower is slave to the lender. This is my wallet. I have green presidents' faces in it, which are accepted almost worldwide. In most countries I go to, they'll definitely take it in Egypt, I can tell you that. They'll figure out a way to convert it to something like food. And 4 pieces of plastic in here. My debit card for my personal account, my debit card for Ramsey Solutions when I'm doing something for business, my driver's license, and my handgun carry permit. And yeah. Said that in California the other day, almost got arrested. It's good to be back in America, but the yeah.
But Dave, debit cards don't have the same protection that a credit card has.
Said who? The guy on TikTok? Really, I mean, seriously. What did you see right after that? Okay, let me help you with this. Here's Visa.com, their website, Visa's website. Visa's zero liability policy is our guarantee that you won't be held responsible for unauthorized charges made with your account or account information. You're protected if your Visa credit or, say it with me, debit card is lost, stolen, or fraudulently used online or offline. My debit card has the exact same protection as Mr. TikTok does on his credit card, only he's lying to people either because he has an agenda or because he's stupid, or both. This is the website. So, sorry. Myth, car payments are a way of life. You can't live without a car payment. Everybody's gonna have a car payment. Said everyone who wanted to stay middle class was born and raised middle class and will always be middle class. Like me, the neighborhood I grew up in. Oh, car payments are a way of life. And no one ever says it with like jubilance, like, car payments are awesome, they're a whale, yeah, baby. No, they go, car payments are a way of life. You're always gonna have a car payment. Oh, it's bad out there. The little man can't get ahead. We're just stuck. What's Eeyore, your spirit animal? The average car payment in America today is approaching $700. 10 months of that is $7,000, which will buy a fine vehicle to drive for a few months until you could save up another $7,000 10 months later and buy a $14,000 vehicle. Y'all with me here? That's how Grandma did it. She didn't go, well, we're just stuck. Just take my teeth out and get me a car payment. Grandmother would have shot you for doing this stuff. You can stay away from car payments by paying cash for reliable used cars. Myth, I need to take out a credit card to build my credit score. The FICO score mathematically is an I love debt score. It is not an indication you're winning financially. From Fair Isaac's own website, Fair Isaac is the organization that built FICO and runs FICO and has sold FICO to America. And guess who loves FICO? All the banks. Because the whole purpose of FICO is to get you into debt so that you can run your score up, so that you can get into debt, so that you can run your score up, so that you can get into debt, so that you can run your score up, so that you can get into debt. 35% of the FICO score is determined by your payment of your debt. 30% is based on your level of debt. 15% is based on the length of time you've been in debt. 10% is based on the type of debt. 10% is based on new debt. You can get $1 million inheritance in the morning, and unless you use it to interface with debt, it will not change your FICO score one freaking point. You can get a raise at work tomorrow morning of $1 million a year, and it will not change your FICO score one freaking point. And yet we have people with master's degrees in finance walking around telling Americans, you need to build your FICO score. We worship at the altar of the great FICO. Great FICO, you are the provider of all good things. If I want something, I can buy it with money that I don't have because of you, Mr. FICO. Great FICO, we bring you offerings of interest. Dave, I have an 800 credit score. I'm really sorry. That cost you at least $100,000 in interest, because it means you paid back a lot over a long period of time. You've been playing kissy face with the bank a lot. You've been making out with the bank if you got an 800 credit score. Has nothing to do with whether you're winning financially. 100% of your FICO score has to do with how you've interfaced with debt. Now, if your goal is to be in debt, you should really work on your FICO score because it works. It's really good for that. My FICO score is 0. And here's how dumb our culture is, okay? I'm not bragging or anything, but I've been doing this stuff a long time. All of these buildings on this campus are 100% paid for. They're worth, yeah. There's 650,000 square feet here. It's worth somewhere around $500 million, okay? So I can go to the local apartment complex down the road down here that's really nice, because we're in a nice area, and I can walk up, and there's a 26-year-old who has to follow the procedures manual that's on his or her desk on who to rent to and what to rent to them, and I can walk up, and they say, what's your FICO score? And I say, I don't have one. I don't borrow money, and I can't rent an apartment there. Now, I can write a check and buy the complex. This is how asinine this is, y'all, okay? This is stupid. And the idea that we all fell for this crap is ridiculous. It's a banker's scam. And it's got you chasing brownie points, and you shouldn't even have been a brownie. Hello. Seriously. Leasing a car is smart, Dave. Consumer Reports and any good calculator will tell you that car fleece is what I call them, because you've been fleeced. It's a bad idea, right? The most expensive way to finance a vehicle. See, car leasing is not technically lending, so the Federal Trade Commission does not require them to give you a truth in lending report. If you finance a car, you get a truth in lending report that shows the effective APY, the effective APR, and the total paid back. So you know what your interest rate is. Y'all know what I'm talking about? Say yes. When you lease a car, you don't get one of those. You know why? Because it's not technically debt under federal law. And so you don't know what your interest rate is, unless you know how to run a financial calculator. And I know what MSRP is, and that's what you paid for the car, because you don't get to fleece them and get a deal. You paid sticker. So you got it at sticker, which meant you paid too much to start with, and then you put the least possible down, which is why you fleeced, because you didn't have enough money to put down. You wanted that car, and it was shiny, and you liked the way the muffler sounded, or you wanted a battery, or whatever it was you wanted. And so, and you leased it. It's the lease down and the lease a month. And then you turn it back in later, and you get to give them another check because you went over on the miles or you had excessive wear and tear. When you back out on a closed-in lease, we know exactly what the turn-in value is. It's called the buyout at the end of the lease, right? You know what you can buy it for at the end of the 36 months, the 74 months, or the 84 months, or whatever it is, right? And you can put that number in a financial calculator, the MSRP, the stream of payments, and the small down payment, all in a financial calculator if you know how to do financial calculations, and back out the effective rate, meaning what the actual interest rate is, and the average car fleece is 14.2%. You never hear that anywhere. 78% of the luxury cars at BMW and Mercedes that leave the lot this year, 8 out of 10 of them will be leased. Why? Because Mercedes and Beamer love this. They're making subprime rates on prime customers. Y'all understand? Same doofus could have gone over at the bank and borrowed that money for about 8% right now if you're buying a $120,000 Mercedes. Instead, Arthur's here, I'm gonna lease it. And the salesman who's incentivized to do leasing above payments and payments above God forbid you try to pay cash for one of these things, because they make more money on the financing than they do on the actual sale of the automobile. And so it's a different world. So, no, 82% of the millionaires that we surveyed said they had never had a car loan or car lease. You want to be a millionaire? Do millionaire stuff. You want to be skinny? Do skinny people stuff, right? This is what we do. We have to do this. We have to go, okay, this is what they do, and you can argue about it. You go, well, I think, no, whatever you think is wrong, and 82% of them said they don't do that. That means 18% did, and by the way, of the 18% that did have one, it was the worst financial mistake I ever made. I don't borrow on cars. I pay cash for cars, period. Myth, I can get a good deal on a new car. Listen, honey, if it has a motor or wheels, it goes down in value quickly. If you buy a brand new car and you leave the lot, when the tires clear the car dealer's lot and go onto the road and you hear that sound, boom, boom, that was $10,000. The truth is, a new car loses 60% of its value in the first 5 years. That's according to Edmunds Car Guide, KBB.com, Trader.com, all the car sites. You can back in and research it. It's really not that hard to do. We do this stuff all the time. So a $40,000 vehicle, we're gonna lose 60%. 6 times 4 is 24, right? Y'all with me? $24,000 you're gonna lose in 5 years, and you make $80,000 a year. Please do the math and say, I make $80,000 and I'm trying to prosper, but I'm gonna lose $24,000 every 5 years, and figure out how that's gonna lead to prosperity. It's not. So I bought my Jaguar, and I took it to my grandpa's house, who was a cash millionaire. I didn't know it until he died, but we knew he had saved everything, including every nail out of every board, because we straightened them out and put them in coffee cans. Y'all had a grandpa like that from the Great Depression? Yeah. You may have one like that now, I don't know, but he was sweet as he could be. I drove up in that car, and he came out in the driveway. I drove all the way to East Tennessee, and I'm like, all proud of myself. Got me a Jaguar. He comes out and he goes, what the hell is that? I said, it's a Jaguar, Grandpa. And he goes, you say? Well, that's amazing. It's a beautiful car, son. What in the world you need with that? He was driving a 68 Chevy with 3 on the tree, by the way. Y'all know what that is? On the tree, right? On the steering wheel. And I said, it's a Jaguar. And he goes, yeah, what'd you pay for that? I said, $39,000. He said, oh my God, you're stupid. I said, what do you mean, Grandpa? He said, it's one of the finest cars made ever. It's a European vehicle. It's got European ride and drive. Come on, I'll take you for a ride. He goes, I don't think I want to get in it. I said, Grandpa, a car like this is an investment. And he said, huh? And he goes, you paid $39,000 for it. He said, in 3 years, what will you be able to sell it for? And I said, well, I don't know, maybe $30,000. He said, well, most of my investments go up. Just didn't go well. Oh, 2 generations later, you get this. Okay, so, wow. Myth, co-signing a loan is okay because I'm helping my friend or my relative. Truth is, the bank would rather do, their favorite thing a bank could ever do in the world is loan somebody money. Their whole reason for existence is to loan someone money. And they have decided that your friend, your relative, is not worthy of even their over-aggressive ability to lend money. Even they think your relative is not gonna pay. Even they think. And so they went, no way, not this one. And you went,
Oh, wait, I'll help. Sign me up. Because I want to help them build their credit. Because we can't let them be left out of the FICO offerings. They need to be able to build their little credit. So we're going to put our own teenage son, daughter in debt. We're gonna let our friend, after their bankruptcy, rebuild their credit, and we're gonna help them by co-signing. This is how dumb we are. I did this. I've co-signed for 3 people in my life. I paid all 3 bills. One poor guy co-signed for the Jaguar. When I was going broke, I had to move it out of one bank into another bank, and one of my buddies that I was doing deals with co-signed. He ended up having to pay it when I went bankrupt, and I had to go back and repay him later after the bankruptcy. His wife's still pissed at me, and I don't really blame her. The truth is the bank requires a cosigner because the person's not going to pay. Proverbs 17:18 in the New King James Version says, one lacking in sense cosigns for another. Okay, you don't like that version. Let's look it up in the contemporary English version, the CEV version. It says, one who cosigns for another is stupid. The Bible said it's stupid. That version anyway, okay. So there you go. Myth, you can't go to college without a student loan. We'll talk about this a lot today. Truth is, 71% of millionaires didn't take out a student loan to be millionaires. And by the way, the average age of the millionaires that we interviewed was 52. They were not 87. It was the average age. And I talk to 35-year-old millionaires every week on the show. All the time. Baby steps millionaires, people that followed the baby steps and became millionaires. Myth, the biggest myth that's over all of this is that debt is a tool and should be used to create prosperity. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Truth is, debt is proof that the borrower is slave to the lender. If you want to get out of debt, you got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You got to decide, I'm not playing the normal person's game anymore. Les Brown, the great motivator, says people change their lives when they finally say, I've had it. Enough. I'm not doing this anymore. That's when you'll change your life, and not until. For many years, it was so interesting to me that when I found someone was that visceral about it, they were just pissed off. I'm tired of being beat down by these stinking banks. I'm getting out of this. They were the ones that get out. And the other ones that want to have an intellectual discussion about the mathematical implications of, oh, shut up. They never make it. So I have people with making $100,000, $150,000 a year, they have $40,000 in debt, and they go, oh, we can't get out of debt. You don't understand about the cost of daycare. You don't understand about the cost of, we've always got a reason, we're just stuck. And I meet people making $40,000, they got $100,000 in debt, and they stand on the stage going, I'm debt-free. I'm going, how'd you do that? That other guy said it couldn't be done. And all it was they believed it, and they didn't care what anybody thought about anything, and they were gonna go for it. And I couldn't quantify this because it is 80% behavior, I know that, but I couldn't quantify this. Visceral reaction was correlated in our data statistically with whether they got out. You would think mathematically that if you made more money as a ratio of your income to your debt, that it would be easier to get out, because mathematically it is. It has nothing to do with whether you're gonna get out of debt. Your shovel to hole ratio helps. More income versus the hole you're in, your shovel versus the hole you're in, that ratio matters mathematically, but it is not the primary indicator that indicates to us whether you're gonna make it out or not. It's something down inside boiling, and you're just like, yeah! When you get that thing going, nobody gonna stop you. You can even do all the stuff I teach wrong, and you'll still just, Hulk comes out, right? You can't be stopped. So finally, I found it about 10, 15 years ago.
Hey guys, we've got tons more on the baby steps coming up, but I know a lot of you can't even think about the future because you got a big old mess of debt right in front of you. Hey, we're gonna help you. That's why we're doing a special offer on Financial Peace University. This class is the proven fastest way to get out of debt and into wealth, and it's helped millions of people. Just click the link below to get started. All right, let's jump back in.
There's a book in the Bible called Proverbs.
Proverbs is the book of wisdom written by Solomon. People of faith, of the Jewish faith, the Christian faith, I'm a Christian, believe that he's the wisest man that ever lived. It says it in here that he is. And so it's a book of wisdom. So even if you're not a person of faith, you could read the book of wisdom and you would be wiser. There's 31 Proverbs, and so I took to a habit many years ago of reading one a day. A little quick spiritual one a day. Now, I might be doing an in-depth Bible study on something else, and I might not be. Shut up. Okay. But I've done both. But I seldom miss my one a day vitamin, my one proverb a day. And I just read through it over and over and over and over and over again. And isn't it weird how 10 years later you see something different than you did the 10 years previous because you have a different set of eyes to see that, and all of a sudden it's there, right? And so I'm reading through there, and on the 6th of the month, I came upon Proverbs 6. If you have signed surety, my son, which is Old English Bible talk for gone into debt, do this. Now, I'm kind of a formula guy because I'm a math guy, and I like things that go, if you want to go north, here's a compass, go that way. If you're in debt, Solomon, God, in the Bible says, do this. Well, that do this is the equal sign in the formula, right? On one side is problem, on the other side is over here what you should do to fix it. You follow me in the formula, okay? So I got pretty excited. I'm like, found it. If you're in debt, God says, do this, found it. And then it says, deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, a bird from the hand of the fowler. And I went, not helpful. I have no idea. Animal metaphor. Come on, God. What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'll look it up in the Hebrew and the Greek and try to figure it out. I'll meditate on it.
But I have no idea. I was all excited about to do this, and you give me an animal metaphor. Come on, God. Scanning channels that night, flipping through the TV, and I hit the Discovery Channel, and God answered my prayer. He told me what it meant. Because there on the Discovery Channel were the gazelles, and they were out there gazelling around. And I'm like, I was just reading about you boys this morning. If you've gone into debt, do this. Deliver yourself like a gazelle from the hand of the hunter, a bird from the hand of the fowler. Now, you know, and I know from years of experience as professional television watchers in America, that the Discovery Channel is not on site with the gazelles if the gazelles are by themselves. You know that someone else is around, right? You know someone's lurking in the bushes. Mr. Cheetah. He wants to have lunch. And the little gazelles have a little cheetah detector behind their ear, and they go, cheetah, run! Now, we had to slow this down so I'd have time to talk. The cheetah is the fastest mammal on dry land, the fastest animal in the world on dry land. He can go from 0 to 67 miles an hour in 4 leaps. 82 miles an hour he tops out at. Gazelle's got no chance. And cheetah picks out a college student. Look. Come here, kid. Come here, kid. You know you need to get a 4-year degree in left-handed puppetry. Come here, kid. Come here, kid. You want to go in debt? Come on, kid. You got to sign up for a credit card, kid. You'll never be able to get a house. You'll never be able to get a car, kid. Come here, kid. The way you get out of debt, you got to do this. You got to run like your freaking life depends on it, because it does. How you get out of debt is run. You know how long we had to look for a clip where he gets away? Well, the interesting stats are, I got all enamored with this. This is how you get out of debt. Okay, so the stats are the cheetah can outrun the gazelle. It's an established fact. And yet, the cheetah only has a successful gazelle kill 1 out of 19 times. The gazelle gets away 18 of 19 times. But he's not faster. He's not even a better maneuvering necessarily, unless the cheetah just gets going so fast he can't turn, right? But 1 in 19 times, I gotta think about it. Why is that? Well, that is because of motivation. One is going to die, and one's gonna have lunch. It matters deeply to the gazelle. And here's the interesting thing about this proverb. Look at it carefully. Give no sleep to your eyelids, no slumber to your eyes, and deliver yourself. Biden's not coming. Trump is not coming. If you wait on what happens in the White House to prosper your house, you're screwed. Deliver yourself. Deliver yourself. I'm not sending you any money, but I'm going to make you believe if you deliver yourself, it will work every time. This is gazelle intensity. This is when you don't care what anybody thinks, when you're selling so much stuff the kids think they're next. You got the dog on eBay and the cat on Craigslist. I said that on Good Morning America, and PETA protested me. No humor bone. Okay, all right, who knew? It's removed to be an activist, I know, but oh my gosh. So how you get out of debt? You gotta get gazelle intense. You gotta quit borrowing more money. That's another thing. Stop borrowing. It's time to have a plastectomy. Time to have plastic surgery. I'm done with this. Not playing this anymore. Citibank, what's in your wallet? Money. Discover freedom. Victoria's Secret. They take cash. Okay. I don't care who the washed up Hollywood star is. I'm not listening to you anymore. Then you got to save money. You got to learn to pay yourself first. We start with $1,000. We'll go on to others later. You need to sell something, sell so much stuff the kids think they're next. You need to take a part-time job. My grandmother used to say there's a great place to go when you're broke, to work. OT, baby. Work like no one else, and later you can work like no one else. You know when I work these days? Whenever Dave wants. Been that way for several years. I do this because I love it. Obviously, you can tell. Take a part-time job, work, prayer, pray. Prayer really works. Your heavenly Father is crazy about you. He thinks you're awesome. I got grandbabies, y'all. 7 and 8 on the way. Man, if I'd have known how great grandbabies are gonna be, I'd have been nicer to their parents. You think I love those grandbabies? I have my smallest one, Daniel's little boy, 4.5. We were out bush hogging at the farm the other day and tearing up stuff everywhere. He fell asleep while I'm bush hogging in my lap. You don't think God loves you more than that even? Your heavenly Father is crazy about you. And he's really rich. He owns the cattle on 1,000 hills. And oh, by the way, he owns the hills. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. So your dad loves you and he's rich and you got a money problem. Phone home, E.T. Prayer works. I can't pray. You don't know about me, and man, I've done a lot of bad stuff and God's mad at me. He's not mad at you, honey. Sometimes you make him laugh, but he's not mad at you. I mean, think about it. How many of y'all had enough kids that you had a stupid one? If you're sitting with them, don't raise your hand, okay? But I mean, think about your Heavenly Father. How many stupid kids has He got? I've been one of His stupid kids at times because I didn't believe the truth. I believed lies. And it brought harm to me and my family. He's not mad at you. He misses you. Check in. Check in. So how do we apply all of this stuff? Well, we apply it in a thing called the debt snowball. And that's where you list your debt in baby step 2, all of your debt except your home, smallest balance to largest balance. You pay minimum payments on everything but the little one, and you attack the little one with gazelle intensity. You stop doing everything else temporarily, stop all your investments temporarily, pull out any money that is not retirement money, throw it at your debt. We're trying to clear this debt as fast and with gazelle intensity, like the cheetah's trying to kill us, as fast as we can, like the life of a loved one meant that we clear this up. We're gonna do it right now. We attack that smallest debt. When that debt is gone, we squeeze all the money out of the budget we can the next month, and we take that payment and throw it on number 2. When number 1 and number 2 are gone, we take the payments from 1 and 2, and we attack number 3. With every dollar we can squeeze out of the every dollar budget, right? And we keep going, and we squeeze, and we throw, and squeeze, and we throw. And every time that snowball rolls over, you have bigger payments, because all those payments that were behind you are gone, are now being used to clean up the next one. So by the time you get to the big one, you got a lot of money freed up, and you're just shoveling on that puppy. You're hitting it hard, and you will get out of debt. But Dave, I like the debt avalanche better, where we list highest interest rate to smallest interest rate because that was mathematically correct. Honey, if we were doing math, we wouldn't have credit card debt. This is not a math problem. This is a stupid problem. And we're fixing stupid. The stupid things I've done, the stupid things you've done. And you can't keep doing this stuff. And here's the other problem, okay? The people that say paying off the highest interest rate to smallest interest rate is mathematically correct are wrong, because they do, as they often do on TikTok, incomplete mathematical formulas that are unsophisticated. So let me help you with a mathematical formula on a behavior modification tool. Mathematical formula also has to include probability of completion, meaning how many are gonna finish, okay? And what the data shows us is those that start the highest interest rate, because they don't make progress and get a positive psychological feedback loop, they go on a diet, don't lose any weight for 60 days, they quit. But when you pay off that little one, you're like, yeah. And you pay off the next one, you're like, mm-hmm. You pay off the next one, like, yeah. And you pay off another one, you're like getting the neighbors, look at this. You're getting more and more fired up because your hope factor is increasing, your belief is increasing that this is actually going to work even for you, and so your probability of completion is way up. As a matter of fact, it's probably about an 80% probability of completion with the debt snowball. The debt avalanche, on the other hand, has about a 20% probability of completion. It will actually, if you did it perfectly, get you out of debt slightly faster, about 1.3 months on average faster, and it will save you somewhere around $1,500 in interest, roughly, if you did the avalanche perfectly and you completed it. But you gotta figure in, if you're gonna do math, probability of completion and number of people that have successfully done this versus number of people that have successfully done that, okay? And so if you put the probability of completion in the math formula, you say 20% times the savings on the avalanche versus 80% probability of completion, the debt snowball destroys the avalanche when you actually know how to do math, because you actually have to put the statistics in behavior modification tools to measure them properly. So Northwestern University up in Chicago did a study on the debt snowball and the avalanche. And they followed it, and at the end of it, they concluded that the debt snowball, as promoted by Dave Ramsey, is correct. And then it was in Time magazine, Dave Ramsey is right. It's not that I want to be right, it's that I want you guys to know the right way to do it, okay? And I'll fight anybody who spreads these lies otherwise and destroy them. As you can tell, I've been doing that for the last few minutes. Okay. Once people decide to go in on baby step 2, they complete this baby step on average in 18 to 24 months. They sell stuff, they take extra jobs, They go crazy, they're gazelle intense, and in 18 to 24 months, on average, that means some people take longer, some people take less. It might take you 5 years, might take you 4 months. Might take you 10 minutes when you get home. Just go, oh, I'm taking this money and paying that off, we're done. Okay, that's possible too, right? I have a 2% car loan and I'm just so smart. No, I'm paying it off. No more gazelle, no more. Not playing footsie with these people anymore. I'm done. When you reach that point, you're done with baby step 2. You're out of debt, everything but the house. You don't have any payments, anything but a house payment. Would that feel good? Say yes. Okay, then what we're gonna do is move on to baby step 3, and now's where it gets serious. We stay gazelle intense for one more step, just this step, and we finish the emergency fund. 3 to 6 months of expenses is a fully funded emergency fund. You need an emergency fund that is only used for emergencies, because Grandma said it, she said, save for a rainy day. Visual aid. It's going to rain. 78% of America's households will have a major negative financial event in any given 10-year period of time. It is going to rain. Dave, you need to be positive. I'm positive it's going to rain. You need to have faith. I've got faith. It's going to rain. You need an emergency fund, 3 to 6 months of expenses. This process is not just financial, it causes you to relax. After going broke, the terror that my wife went through, the emergency fund is spiritual for her. It's attached to her security gland, which was spasming for a while because we were insecure. Now, for many decades, she's been secure. Changes everything. You don't touch this for anything except for emergencies. I've touched the emergency fund 3 times in 35 years, and they were all in the first 10 years. After that, I had other money every time something came up and didn't even touch the emergency fund. It's very weird. Hail hit my house the other day. I carry very large deductibles to keep my insurance premiums down. So guess who gets to pay for the roof? The savings on my insurance. Now I get to trade that out and buy a roof. But yeah, but guess what? I'm just gonna write a check because it's really not a thing. And just kind of like, oh, that's inconvenient. Which is what happens when you have an emergency and you have an emergency fund. It turns a crisis into an inconvenience. Otherwise, our life is drama to drama to drama to drama to drama to drama to prom dresses, to transmissions going out, to oops, I forgot Christmas was in December this year. Drama to drama to drama to drama to drama to drama until we start living on a plan and we have an emergency fund. It changes your relationships, it changes your spiritual walk, and it needs to be liquid. It's not there for an investment. Dave, your emergency fund should be put into an investment, said the guy on TikTok. No, honey, it shouldn't. Your emergency fund is not an investment. Everybody say, not an investment. Your emergency fund is insurance. Everybody say insurance. You know what insurance is? It's you spend money to protect the things that are making you money. Right? You're transferring risk. That's what insurance is. And what you don't make on your $10,000, $15,000, or $20,000 emergency fund, because it's only in a high yield savings and not in some mutual fund or some double backflip TikTok crap, what you don't make on it is your cost of your insurance, and it just sits there, and your spouse will just kiss you and say, thank you, thank you. I feel so much better when we have $20,000 that we never touch. It's not a I need a new couch fund. It's not a I need a new bass boat fund. It is an emergency fund. You don't touch it for anything. It takes people 6 to 12 months to get through baby step 3. Now, when we transition from baby step 3, we have an emergency fund of $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever it is at your house, and no payments. Now breathe that in. Let's just say 20,000 bucks in the bank and not a payment except the house payment. Does that feel pretty good? Yes. Let me help you. At that point, you're in the top 10% of Americans financially. Wow, that's how bad it sucks out there. Wow. Now, when you stay gazelle intense till you get there. And once you're there, I want you to downshift out of gazelle mode. And we go from sprinting to marathon, from intense to just intentional. So all the stuff you didn't do, vacations, eating out, investing, all the stuff you didn't do because you were hell-bent on getting out of debt and saving your life during baby step 2, all the stuff you didn't do, now you start to intentionally do that with wisdom on the mathematics. But now you've got the money because you don't have a $1,200 stupid boat payment, okay? Now you've got the money because Sally Mae, the old woman sitting in the street, you done evicted her, okay? Now you've got the money because MasterCard is no longer there in your house and you haven't discovered bondage. Now you've got the money to downshift from intense to intentional. It's a mathematical thing now. That takes us to baby step 4. Now, I'm gonna do a whole hour on investing later in the day, but baby step 4 is 15% of your income going into retirement. Now, that's your whole household income. So husband plus wife, if you're married, what's the total times 0.15? Not 20%, not 25%, not 12%. Don't care what someone else is giving you in a pension or a match. You put in 15% of your money at baby step 4. And you can do that when you don't have any payments but a house payment. Albert Einstein said, compound interest is the 8th wonder of the world. He who understands it earns it. He who doesn't pays it. You want to see what it looks like to pay it? Get out your mortgage amortization schedule. That's compound interest smacking you in the nose. You want to see what it looks like to earn it? Well, let's look at that. What if you invested $150 a month only? That's not 15%, that's a lot less. From age 25 to age 65. Now, by the way, the Standard & Poor 500, which is the measure of the stock market's growth, since the stock market began, the average growth rate in the stock market from day one to today is 11.2%. So if you saved in an average S&P 500, if you averaged exactly what the stock market has averaged, or a little less, at $150 a month from age 25 to age 65, you'd have $1.3 million. Dave, mutual funds are not the best strategy. You should diversify into real estate, single stocks, and Bitcoin. Said no millionaire ever. 78% of the people that day trade stocks lose money. Bitcoin is not investing, it's speculating. It's guessing. Now, if you want to guess with some of your money, you can do that at Vegas, you can do that by buying gold, you can do that by buying Bitcoin, but it's not investing. Investing is investing in something that has a long track record that is proven that you're gonna leave alone for a long time. And that's what you do, you're investing in. If you want to do some speculating, don't call it investing. It shows your ignorance, okay? So, by the way, millionaires don't do this stuff. The millionaires, their portfolios are disturbingly boring, really. And the other one is, Dave, 15% is not enough anymore because, you don't know about inflation, do you, Dave? You're a boomer, aren't you, Dave? You bought your house with 2 baskets of strawberries, didn't you, Dave? Have you seen the videos? They're funny. There's a lot of them making fun of me. I'm really good clickbait. There's a guy puts a little piece of hose on his head and he's trying to be Dave. It's hilarious. He's really funny. It's cute as it can be. It's wrong, but it's cute. 15% is no longer enough. So let's walk through this. This is baby step 4, right? Does anybody remember what baby step 7 was? After you paid off your house, you invest and build wealth, right? Would you probably be putting in more than 15% at that point? So this is not forever. Just like the $1,000 emergency fund was not forever. This is a step. It's not a forever. But if you only say 15%, let's play around with what would happen. If that's all you ever did. Let's say you're 30 years old and you say 15% of your income and you get a 10% rate of return. Let's dumb it down a little bit. And you do that to age 65. Your average household income in America right now is $77,000. 15% of that saved from age 30 to age 65, 35 years at 10% is $3.6 million. So if I'm half wrong, you're gonna be okay. Oh, and by the way, let's look at the assumptions on this, okay? This person makes an average household income, and for 35 years, they did not get a raise. Starting at average is one thing. never getting a raise in 35 years from average, you're pretty much a loser. How is this even possible, okay? You with me? So what you would normally do in a financial projection is you would project the income going up and the 15% number would change. And so the 3.6 is gonna look a lot more like 10, okay? If you really put it in an actual model of what's probably really gonna happen. But I dumb these down because everybody's like, can't do that. Where are you gonna get that kind of money? S&P 500, if you don't do anything but that, and I'll teach you a lot better later, but if that's all you do, 3.6 million, and that's if you never get a raise and you start at average. Wow. So I don't know, maybe it's not enough, but there's 26 million millionaires in America. There's approaching 40 million people. So that means if you have $1 million in America today in net worth, you are in the top 5.5% of Americans, okay? 95% of the people in America have less than you. If you have 3.6, by the way, starts getting small, okay? So I don't know if it's enough or not, but it's more than you got. Most of you anyway, okay? So there you go. So maybe we ought to try something different if we want something different. If you've been planting corn, you keep getting something other than corn, you got the wrong corn. So you ought to try something different. Step 5, then, we're gonna save up and pay for our kids' college. The first rule of college is pay cash. There is no good student loan. There is no circumstance under which you should do a student loan, ever, 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 ever. Because here's what happens right now. 21% of young adults right now are delaying getting married. 31% of young adults are delaying moving out of their parents' home. Oh, God! 40% of young adults delay saving for retirement. 47% of young adults are delaying buying a home because of student loan debt. And that is even assuming that they got a student loan in a subject that made them employable versus left-handed puppetry. Or I got a degree in something that qualifies me to be a barista. And I'll live in my mother's basement for the rest of my life. Yeah. So, oh, and they paid $250,000 for that opportunity, and it's completely freaking useless. So, includes those, and includes people who got a great marketing degree, a great communication degree, a great degree in something else that actually caused them to be able to go make money because they've got that degree. A logistics degree is really sweet right now. Supply chain, come out making almost 6 figures as a college kid right now. That. Oh, by the way, how about information systems or cybersecurity? Oh, wow, definitely worth the money, right? All kinds of good stuff out there. So you save in an ESA, an educational savings account, or a 529 for your kid. And you don't have to start putting a lot away right now. Right now we're putting 15% in baby step 4, simultaneously is 4, 5, and 6. 4 is getting 15% from my retirement plan and my wealth building. We'll start putting something aside for the kiddos. And Dave, what if my kid doesn't go to college? Well, if you've got a bunch of money in your 529, you can transfer it to another family member with no penalty at all. If your kid does go to college and gets a bunch of scholarships, because everybody's like, well, what if my little genius gets scholarships? My little guy's gonna be the quarterback. So he's gonna get scholarships and NIL, shut up. He's 4, we'll wait and see, okay? But see if he survives travel ball first, but oh God. So if your kid gets scholarships, you're allowed to withdraw from the 529 the amount of the scholarship every year tax-free. So you got a $20,000 scholarship, it's the value of the scholarship's $20,000, you can take $20,000 out of the 529, no penalty, you had tax-free growth on the money. And so if your little genius is a little genius, then that happens. Well, Dave's college is a scam, it's no longer worth the money. Not true. College is worth the money if you study the right things, at the right place, at the right price. What's not worth the money is the name brand of the college. There's 0 data that says where you went to school is tied to your success. 0. None Harvard, none Yale, none Vanderbilt. 0 data that says where you went to school is equated with your success level. No one can find it anywhere. Lots of data associated with a quality education that puts tools in your belt and enables you to make your way through the world more efficiently than not having those tools in your belt. So education, the right kind of education that has a utilitarian value in the marketplace, is worth more than it costs. You should go to college if you want to go to college. You could go to the trades too. There's nothing wrong with that. My friend Mike Rowe and I have a lot of discussions about this, and I love him, and I agree with him. You can be a welder right now and make $110,000 a year. You can go to code school for 15 or 20 grand and make 110, 120 as a Dev 1 entering the market. I got Dev 1s all over the building down here. And they're making good money. And if they keep studying, they can be a Dev 2, Dev 3, platform engineer, architect, all the cyber architect, cybersecurity, all that stuff. And we're talking $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year and never got a college degree. All they have is a Microsoft certs and the other miscellaneous code certifications, and they mentor under code geniuses and work their way up through the tech world. That's out there too. So you don't have to go to college to succeed, but by the way, you never have. That was a lie that they told people. You had to go to college to succeed. But going to college never, because the whole thing's a scam, is not true. But don't overpay for it. I mean, Vanderbilt's right now, I think it's like $80,000 or $75,000 a year. University of Tennessee, in-state school, I think it's like $14,000 a year. Now, is Vanderbilt worth, what is that, 7, 8 times as much? No, there's no data that shows that. As a matter of fact, I've got incomplete data that shows that it's not worth that, because I graduated from the University of Tennessee, and people that graduate from Vanderbilt work for me. So I don't know, that's incomplete, but you know. Baby step 6, pay off your home early. Dave, you should never pay off your house, said broke people. As we studied the millionaires, here's what we discovered. The typical millionaire, 70, 80% of them, which is statistically significant beyond belief, more than I thought it would be, there's 2 main elements that cause them to get their first $1 to $5 million of net worth. Now, not 50 million, but 1 to 5 million, okay? To hit the first million of net worth, and your net worth is what you own minus what you owe. That's your net worth. When that's $1 million, you're a millionaire by definition. It's an accounting definition, it's not a feeling. And it's not a moral construct that you hate because you're a communist. It's an accounting construct, okay? You can be morally outraged about any amount if you want to. I don't care, that's up to you. But so you got $1 million, the first 1 to 5 million in the millionaires. Here's what we typically found. They were unbelievably boring. Almost every one of them sounded like this. They're 52 years old. The kids are grown and gone. The house is paid for. It's worth $600,000 or $700,000. And for the last 18 years, they've been putting money steadily into their 401k or their Roth IRA, and they got $700,000 or $800,000 in that. So $700,000 or $800,000 in that, plus a $600,000 paid for house. They got a net worth of $1.3 million, $1.5 million, and they're a typical millionaire. That's your first millionaire. That's the first thing you do to get there. So paying off your house is the thing. And there's a whole bunch of you in here right now that are millionaires. I know some of you. And that's how you got there for your first $1 to $5 million worth of net worth. Now, it's not 50 million, and millionaires aren't billionaires. Billionaires have jets, millionaires don't. Billionaires have 7 houses, millionaires don't. They got 1. Billionaires have a car collection, millionaires have 2, okay? And they're old. And so, you know, and they don't care what you think, by the way. They don't care what you think at all. Believe me, they don't care what you think. So, you should pay off your house early. No, Dave, instead of paying off your house, you should invest the money in the market and let it grow. Borrowing money on my house in order to put money into mutual funds, well, although I do believe in mutual funds, is not in the data. The number of millionaires that did that and it caused them to become wealthy, they leveraged their residence into mutual funds, was precisely 0. We did not find one that did that. Not one. And we didn't just interview people we liked, we interviewed people that didn't even know who we were. Lots of them. The data is, and the research methodologies, stone cold. We dialed it in so tight. So paying off the house, right? Well, Dave, there's tax benefits to keeping a mortgage. Oh God, you're killing me. All right, let me help you with this. Standard deduction for 2024 is $27,700 for married filing jointly. So if you're doing your taxes and you're married, you get to write off $27,700 automatically and file a 1040 easy. Done. You don't write off your charitable that way. Unless it's in excess of 27, you wouldn't do that because you lose. If you want to do itemized, you can't do the standard. Okay, so if you've got enough business depreciation, charitable giving, and other things to do a long form, you have to. It has to be more than $27,000 for it to make sense. You understand that? Is this thing on? Do y'all understand that? Yes. Okay, so here's what happens. In America last year, 90% of Americans took the standard deduction. Only 10% of us itemized, okay? So if you take the standard deduction, it means you do not write off anything. You just take the standard deduction, which means you don't write off your home interest. So these people who say keep your home mortgage because it's a tax deduction are talking to only 10% of the public because it doesn't apply to the other 90%. Y'all get this, right? This is how asinine these things are that float around on the internet. And that you're stupid. Even your stupid CPA sometimes tells you this. Oh, you need to keep a home mortgage. But we're gonna do a standard. Why did I keep a home mortgage again? Because I love the bank and my FICO score. That's why I kept it. No. So let's figure out what a tax deduction. Let's pretend that you're one of the 10% that does actually write the interest off. Let's see how this works, okay? Now, let's pretend you had a $200,000 mortgage. Now, that'd be cheap. And let's pretend you had a 5% interest rate, so the math is easy. That'd also be cheap, right? But this is easy math, okay? So 5% of 200,000 is 10,000. Does that sound right? Say yes. So if you have a 5% mortgage, you owe 200,000. That year, you paid $10,000 worth of interest. Do you understand? Say yes. That means if you're one of the 10% that do a write-off, instead of taking the standard deduction, then you would have a $10,000 tax deduction on your income. You would reduce your income by $10,000 before calculating your taxes. That's how a tax deduction works. Y'all understand that? Say yes. So let's look at how that works. Okay, $10,000 off of my income means I don't pay $10,000, I don't pay taxes on that $10,000 worth of income. If I'm in a 22% tax bracket, which means I make $85,000 a year, I save $2,200 in taxes. So here's what the TikTok genius or the CPA genius told you to do. Send $10,000 to the bank to keep from sending the government $2,200. I'll try it again. Send $10,000 to the bank to keep from sending, this is a tax deduction, the government $2,200. You're trading dollars for quarters, y'all understand that? If you want to make that trade, I'm going to open a booth at the break. And yet people do it in America all day long, and they say, keep a mortgage because you should reinvest it, although no millionaires do. Keep a mortgage because of the tax deduction. Only 10% of people itemize, and those that do are trading dollars for quarters. And we wonder why people are broke in America with all these lies and mathematical mythology flowing around all over the place. Brought to you by Bank of America. Guess who wants you in debt on your mortgage? Banks. Did we miss that somewhere? There's a theme here, boys and girls. Now, we're out of debt after baby step 6. We're doing 4, 5, and 6 simultaneously, then we're not. Now we're debt-free, house and everything. You know how fast you can get really rich with your old house payment? That one number into a mutual fund turned you into a millionaire real fast. No house payment. Average person doing this stuff is paying off their home in 7.2 years. The average millionaire paid off theirs in 11.2 years, unless we found them in the Ramsey tribe, and then they were doing it in around 9 years. Definitely not, I'm keeping a mortgage my whole life. I'm getting out of debt because that house is going to go up in value with no debt. It's going to be part of my $1 million plus net worth, and it frees up all of my income, my most powerful wealth building tool to build wealth, and I can go like crazy now. All I got left to do is build wealth and give outrageously. Dave, giving money away, though, takes away from money from pursuing your goals. Well, again, that's a limited mathematical understanding of how things actually work in the real world. Generosity actually has an odd way of creating wealth, and here's why. Generous people have a tendency to prosper versus ungenerous people. Now, here's why. It's not mystical. Some preachers make it very preachery and all that, and you can do that if you want to. I don't mind putting it in Bible language if you want me to. I can do that, but that's not the important thing. Here's what happens, okay? Generosity is not an act. It is a character quality. The character quality causes the act. Does that make sense? Integrity is not an act. It is a character quality. Integrity causes certain actions like honesty and a complete whole life, the way you look at things in wholeness, it's whole, all this stuff. Integrity comes from the word integer, which is a whole number, all that. So these are character things that reflect, that show up in our behavior. Generosity is who you are, it's not what you do. Does that make sense? Say yes. Okay, so generous people, in other words, are the ones that hold the door for you. They're not self-centered, they're other-centered. Generous people, when you're walking through the parking lot and those stupid bags bust open and stuff's rolling around all over the parking lot, they're the ones that run and help you pick up the stuff. The next time that happens, the person helping you is very likely a millionaire. Because there's a correlation in all this stuff that we found over all these years. The data, again, is there to show this. So, and the reason is they're unselfish. They hold the door. They have more of a tendency to smile. They are thinking about others, not themselves all the time. That is the essence of being generous. Does that make sense? Say yes. Part of that is you give away money. Part of that is you give away time and talent. Part of that is you're just helpful. You're more likely to stay married. And that's neat because marriage is grand, but divorce is 50 grand. Right? It's a relational issue. I was preaching a little Baptist church up in Paducah, Kentucky about 30 years ago, and I did this whole sermon on tithing, and the preacher came out and he said, well, Dave, I never had a couple in my church in 38 years that tithed that got divorced. And I said, well, is that like a Bible thing, or is that God protecting them, or what do you think? And he said, no. Generous people, just easier to live with. There it is. Who gets promoted at work? Selfish, backstabbing, throat cutter? Only if you're working in corporate America, right? But in most jobs, if you're the employer, who do you promote? People who are likable, they smile more, they're generous, they think about the good of the overall project and the company, not just themselves. See what I'm talking about? Yes. Generous people have a tendency to make more money and build more wealth through their life. So generosity is not, so don't be so short-sighted as to say it's, if I have $100 and I give away $10, I only have 90. Yes, but you changed who you are. Or you reflected the changes in who you are. And that is going to cause you to make a lot more than that 10 over time. And besides, my friend Rabbi Lappin says, he's an Orthodox Jewish rabbi, and he's a wonderful teacher. We become close friends. And he says, money is not like a cake, where when you give away a slice, you have less. Money is like candles. When you use it to light others, there's more light. You're not diminished when you light someone else's candle. And that's how money works in the real world. Beautiful Jewish view of things. I love it. Fabulous. So people who are generous excel at wealth building. We'll talk about that more a little bit later too. So what are we saying? We're saying live like no one else so that later you can live and give like no one else. And you could do that if you didn't have any payments and a couple $1 million in your mutual fund and your house is paid for and you saw someone sitting next to you at church whose light bill just got cut off. You could go and pay for it. They wouldn't even know who did it, and you'd be one of those people. Hello? It's a different thing, right? We are blessed to be a blessing, like Abraham of old. All right, guys, you just learned the entire plan to win with money, all 7 baby steps. The only thing left to do is go do it. You've got to decide, are you going to keep doing what you've been doing and keep getting the same result, or will you do something different and change your family tree? Remember, winning is an intentional act, and I want you to win. That's why we're giving you a special offer on Financial Peace University. This class is the fastest way to maximize your results with the baby steps. The average person who goes through FPU saves $2,700 and pays off $5,300 of debt in just 90 days. That's an turnaround. You'll also get Every Dollar Premium, the best budgeting app on the planet, plus a year of financial coaching and a free one-on-one coaching session. And for a limited time, you get all of it for just $69.99. I promise if you take the class and follow the plan, you will win. Don't waste another minute living with money stress. Click the link in the description to start FPU today. We're proud of you. We think you've got this.